Hello world. In this course, I'm going to be taking you on HTML and CSS. We'll take a look of a quick landing page. That's what we are going to be creating in this course. So, before starting this course, my name is Mr. Maf Mishabito Adeyemi, the CEO of Mafitech Expert. So, without further ado, let's take a look of what we are going to create in this landing page course. So, you can see this is our index page. So I'm going to be creating 3-page course. So 3 pages site. So this is the home page. We have the gallery page. You can see the gallery page. This is the part page. So this is the 3-page website that we are going to be creating as course proceed. So as you can see, this is our part page, the gallery page, and the home page. So without further ado, let's get our hands dirty as we code this beautiful website. So now let's minimize it. So let's create a folder called my landing page. So we have created a folder called my landing page. So let's open a folder with the code editor that we are going to be using in this course. So the code editor we are going to be using in this course is called Visual Studio Code. So I know you already have Visual Studio Code installed in your computer. So let's right click the Visual Studio Code and we'll open with code. So Visual Studio Code has already loaded. We can click yes, we trust the author. So you can see, get rid of this. So now we are going to start creating our skeletal HTML. So to do that, we are going to create a first file which is HTML index.html. So say index.html. So that file has been created already. So to create the skeletal setup of HTML, we have to type what they call doc. When you type doc, you press enter. So doc, enter. So if that doesn't work, you can use doc, then you use exclamation mark, then you press enter. So exclamation mark works, but docs also work. So we use exclamation mark to do that. The skeleton of HTML have already been set up. So without further ado, so let's start coding our HTML. So now, before proceeding, so let's set up our CSS. So click here, type main.css. So our CSS file has been created. So the next thing we are going to do now, so let's go to HTML and start setting up our navigation bar. Remember, this is what we'll be creating in this course. So let's go back to our code editor. So now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a div which will contain the navigation bar. So we now say div, then you press enter. So inside that div, we have a class called container fluid. Then under that container we have a class called container. So under that again we now have a class called nav. So we have created this. Now this our navigation. So inside this navigation we have two child inside navigation, which is the li list. Let's look at it. This is our brand and this is our navigator, which is the another list. So let's do that now. Let's create the skeleton. Then we now say div nav dash logo, which will contain the brand. Then the brand will now go with a icon called nav dash brand icon. Then this our icon for now. We now say index.html. Then inside here we now put our brand. Now we call it Murphy Tech Expert. So this our brand under here. Then the next thing we are going to do, we now create another list. Then we now say nav list. Then create a child. It is a child called li with nav item. Then a child called nav link. So you can see we have created it. Remember, we have three navigation. We can now copy this and duplicate it. So save changes. So now let's view what we have already done. So let's create it here. Let's type home here. Then we have what we call gallery, and we now have the third one is about us. Let's say about us. And we save changes. So now I have live server installed inside my system. So if you want to have a live server installed in your system, you can just click at this icon. Then you now type live server. You can see, you click at it. I have it installed already. Then you click live server. You install. I cannot install because I've installed it already. Then you click live server. So this will automatic save changes. You don't have to refresh the browser. Automatic. Anything when you save changes, it will show on the browser at a fly. So let's get rid of this. So now click this our HTML now. Then we right click. We now say open with live server. So you can see what we have done now. My HTML skeletal page. That's why we can see our brand here and our navigator. So now before proceeding, let's go to our CSS to set up our CSS. So in order not to waste any time, let's set up our CSS. So click file here. So let's go to main.css. So let's create an universal selector. Then we now say margin 0, padding 0. So that's our universal selector. So universal selector, because we set the margin and the padding, we get rid of the margin spacing and the padding spacing in our HTML and CSS. So the next thing we are going to do now, because we want the page to be automatic in nature, so we are going to set the HTML, which is the basic font size. The basic font size of every browser is 16. The basic font size of every browser is 16. If you check your browser very well, you will see your font size is 16. So now we are going to reset it. And I say font, this is how to reset it. We can say font size. So font size, we are going to reset it to 62.5%. So you may be surprising that they will come up with this 62.5%. So if you want to know that, we said is 16 by default. So you will now say we want to use our font size, which is our every pixel will be represented by 10. So now if you take a look at it, now we have 16, which is by default because it's in percentage. Now we will now divide it by 10. So we want to change our default font size for 16 pixel to 10 pixel. So 16 pixel divided by 10, then it will give you 1.6. So you can see 1.6 that is divided by 10. So now you will now say 16 pixel 16 pixel. Now say 10 divided by 16 pixel. You can see 10 divided by 16 pixel. Now it will now be 0.625. 0.225. If you see this how you calculate, you will now say 10 divided by 16 pixel. But you will not put the pixel, punch it in your calculator. 10 divided by 16, it will give you 0.625. So in order to justify it in percentage, so you will now say it will be equal to, let me comment it here so that you see. So it will give you 0.625. This is what our calculator will give us. So to convert it to percentage, then you will now say, convert it, now put in bracket, you will now say 62.5%. So if you times it, it will give you your pixel back. So if you times it will give you your pixel back. So if you look at it now, this is because we use 10 to divide it. 10 divided by 16 will give us this, which means our pixel now is no longer 16 pixel, it's now 10 pixel. So now this is how we arrive at that. So that every pixel that you are right will be represented by 10. So 1 pixel will be equal to 10. You understand? 1 pixel will be equal to 10 instead of 1 pixel will be 16. Your font size will be 16. So let's get rid of it. Remember, in units we have what we call rem and RON and ROEN. So RON is by default from the browser, which is 16. It's not related, it's related to the browser, while REN is related to the parent font size of the element. So now we'll be using REN, not EN. So that's the unit we'll be using now. So we have set up that. So let's set up the body. So the body will use font family. The font family we'll use Verdana, Veniva. So this is the font family we'll be using. So we have line height. Let's set our line height. Our line height to 1.7. So let's set our background. Our background, we'll use radial gradients with RGB color of 255 and 255. So if you look at it, it will give us white. Then we say comma, now put another RGB. Then we now have 171, 248. Then we have 248. So this is our eye background. Then next thing we do background repeat. So background repeat. Then we say no repeat. Then the next thing we say mean height. Say 100 VH, like the view height. Then the next thing now say color. Our color will be RGB. Our color will be say RGB. Then we now set it to say 65, 63 and 63. So let's take a look of what we have done so far. So remember, before we can do that, we have to link the main CSS to our HTML. So let's go and link it now. So let's go to the top. So this is where we link it to the head. Type link, you can see link SCSS. Then what we have is called main.css. Then save changes. Let's go to our browser. You can see the the gradient we have created, which is the radial gradient. You can see, let's check it here. You can see the gradient, we do radial gradient. So you can see it has beautified our web page. So let's take a look of what we are creating. So let me open what we are creating. I've closed it. So let me open it so that you see what we are creating in this course. So you can see, compare with what we have. You can see. So you can see. So you can check the font size now. It's in 10 pixels now. You can see they have reduced in size. So if I go to main CSS now and I comment the HTML, it will change to 16. So the font size will enlarge now. You can see it has enlarged. Remember, we get rid of the header, the margin, and the padding. You can see that's why it's aligned to the page. So let's go back. Let's uncomment the HTML. So let's go back and see. You can see it has reduced. So now let's go back to our index.html and start coding what we have learned. So remember, we created a container fluid. So this is our container fluid. So let's go to CSS now. So now say header here. Let's comment it. Header here. So we now say container fluid. So the container fluid, we say mean weight. So mean weight, what we are going to use for the mean weight, we now say is 100%. Then we now say background. Our background will be RGB. We have 57. We have 237. Then we'll use 250. Then that is our background. So the next thing we will say border bottom. So border bottom. So our border bottom now, we now say one rem. One rem is equal to 10 pixels solid. Then we will now say RGB. So RGB we use white, which is 255. So save changes. So let's view what we got so far. So it's there. So that is our container fluid. So let's create our, you can see this container fluid. Okay, this I have spelling error here. Fluid, container fluid. So that's, I have error there. So let's do it. You can see our navigation bar have appeared with border button. You can see the border here, which is the white we created here. Border button. So let's view it again. That's our navigation. So now let's go back to our code editor now. So the next we are going to create now, we're creating the container. So we now say container, create a container. You can see the next thing we have here is container. Ensure you name your class appropriately. So container, this is our container. So the container here we have what we call mass width. mask width. Mask width we say 100%. Then we now say background. Okay, no need background. Margin we say 0 auto. So I have say the container now we have what to call mask width 100%. So the mask width cannot be 100%. So you can see this 100%, the container already, container field is 100%. So we want to I make it, so let's check it. You can see it's not up to the left align and the right align side. You can see the where it is here. So we want to reduce the width. So let's go back, change from 100%. Let's specify the width we are going to use. We are going to use 120 rem. That is 1200 by the width. So save changes. So you can view it. So by now save changes. Now the container, this is our container now. So auto, so let's do it here. So I will call container. So there's nothing inside. So let's save changes. Let's save changes and view it again. You can see it's no longer at the left align, and it has shifted to the middle. So now the next thing we are going to be doing now, so we are going to start setting up our nav now. So let's start setting up the nav. So let's go to our CSS. So let's start setting up the nav. Now say container dash nav. So if we want to, why we do that, let's view it. You can see nav. The nav contains the brand, the nav logo, the brand, and which is nav list also. So let's go back and view, go back to our CSS. So let's check our CSS now. This is our nav. So the next thing we are going to do now, we will now say padding. Let's put padding first, 2.5 rem, 2.5 rem, and that is top and bottom, and left and right is 0. So next we are going to do now, we are going to display it. I told you we are using flares. So flares, we are not using float is outdated. So we have flares it. You can see the Murphy, Tech Expert, and the Home, they have been flares now. So they are now in the float level. So you can see we have flares it, and here we can now say flares wrap. We can say wrap. So that is it. So let's view it again. Let's see what we got. You can see now. So the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to take a look of the Nav logo. So we have Nav logo and Nav brand. So let's go and style that. So let's take a look of it. Now say container dot nav dot, and I say nav logo dot nav brand. So let's check it. You can see container, we have nav logo, and we have nav brand. So let's go. Please save changes. So let's style it now. And say test transform. Test transform. We use the word uppercase. Uppercase. Then we say letter spacing. And say .5 rem. Then we say color, use white. Then color, we use white. Then next thing we're going to font size. Font size we use 2n, which is equal to 20. Then because one will now represent 10 pixels. So then the next thing I'm going to do cursor pointer. So let's do what we got now.